Hey guys, it's Mariah here. Today I'm going to be doing my February TBR. This TBR, I have 5 books. I tried so hard not to do series books, but every single one I have is some type of series, except for one. Now one is an ending to a series and one is the only book that is out in a series, and the other one one of them has 2 companion novels, so it's not horrible. I'm trying so hard not to keep starting series because then I'm never going to finish the series that I've already started, but one of them that is really at the top of my TBR is the final book in the series. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. The first book I have is going to be the first book in the Lunar Chronicles, Cinder by Marissa Meyer. This is a fairy tale retelling where Cinderella is a cyborg, and that's about all I know. Cinderella's a cyborg, and I guess cyborgs, I believe, are just to hide because they don't like cyborgs or something like that. I'm not really 100% sure. But in my book outlet haul, which I will link below, I do talk about the second book in this because I got the second book in this series, and that is about Scarlet, but I believe it follows Scarlet, but Cinder is also in it, and then so on and so forth. The other 2 books have 2 new characters, but all of the characters are still in all of the books, which I find really interesting. A lot of people really enjoy this series. I really enjoy fairy tales, so I really wanted to get into this series, so I want to pick up this book. The next book I have is Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. This is a trilogy. Anna and the French Kiss is the first book, but the other 2 books are kind of companion novels, but I do believe that the characters are in the books, but they're companion novels and you don't necessarily need to read the other ones to read this, but I just wanted to. I've heard that Stephanie Perkins is a great writer, and I've heard mixed things about this series. I've heard that this kind of says it's okay to cheat, which is a little controversial, but I want to read it for myself and decide if it's saying it's okay to cheat or if cheating just happens in this book. Well, they say it romanticizes it, but I'm not really 100% sure. There are a decent amount of movies and books that kind of romanticize that type of thing, so I still want to give this a try and see for myself my thoughts and opinions on it. The next book I have is The Town That Forgot How to Breathe, and I believe this is also in my book outlet haul. This book is basically about a town that forgets how to breathe. There's something in the water, or I don't really for sure know, and suddenly people in this town develop this illness where they just forget how to breathe and they start dying. So it's kind of like a little thriller type thing, and I'm really interested to get into this. The way I picked this one out is I knew the series that I had, I knew I wanted to read, and I've kind of been I have my top TBR, and then the rest of my books are just kind of books I want to read, but they're not the most anticipated books. So what I did is I kind of counted how many I have, and then I did a random number generator, and I just kind of counted, and I think it was 16, and this was the 16th book that I had, so I picked this one to put in my TBR. So that's why I have this one. So I for sure am going to read this. That's kind of going to be my little challenge to myself, is every TBR I'll do a random generator one, and that's the one that I for sure have to read in the month, to kind of just, I don't know, challenge myself a little bit. The next book I want to read is Ignite Me, which is the 3rd book in the Shatter Me series, and I'm really disappointed with the type of book I got. I talk about it in my January book haul, which I believe will be coming out before this. It should be coming out before this. I'm not 100% sure, but either way, once it's out, I will link that down below as well. And this is the 3rd book in the Shatter Me trilogy. The Shatter Me trilogy is about Juliet, who when she touches people, she can kill them with her touch. So she kind of can't touch people, and she meets a boy, and she meets another boy, and stuff goes on and on from there. And this is the 3rd book. I finished the first 2 books in this trilogy, so this is the final book I have to read. I've also read both of the novellas, so I'm really interested to see what happens in this final book. I'm kind of about this series. I do enjoy it, but at the same time, I'm not a huge fan of Juliet. When I finish this, I do plan on doing a series review on it, going through each book and my thoughts and opinions on them, and then kind of wrapping up my opinions in all of them. I'll do the beginning spoiler free, and then the ending I'll kind of do spoilers for those of you who have also read this trilogy. So keep an eye out for that once I finish this one. And the last book I have is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. This is a recent release, I believe it's from 2016, and this book is about a world where there are no diseases and people don't die of natural causes. So there are these scythes that their job is to kill people, and I believe this book follows 2 spies that are in training, and I'm not really 100% sure anything else about this book, but I'm pretty interested to get into this because I know I've heard really good things about Neil Shusterman. I have a couple of his other books on my TBR, but this is the first one I wanted to read because this one sounds super interesting. So that's going to be it for my February TBR. Hopefully I'll read more than those books in February. I read a decent amount of books in January, which my January wrap-up should be up already, so I will leave that linked down below as well. So I'm hoping I'll get to more than 5, but my reading's kind of been on and off. There'll be weeks where I will read 3 books in the week, and then there'll be a week where I read 100 pages. It just kind of depends with my overtime and with work and kind of how I'm feeling. And I have noticed that my making videos has kind of gotten in the way a little bit of reading because I'm like, oh, I need to film this video. Oh, I want to read, but I need to film this video. So, but any reviews that I do for these books after this goes up, I will link those down below for you as well in case you are watching this after I've finished these. That is going to be it for my February TBR. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video.